Hi guys, my name is Philip and I'm a front-end developer. In today's video, we'll be explaining what ICE data is and how to fetch ICE data in Kotlin and show it in an emulator. First, let's briefly talk about ICE data. So, ICE data is important for monitoring and predicting weather conditions, which could potentially impact transportation, aviation, and even in some cases, public safety. There are different types of ICE data, such as sea ice, ground ice, freezing rain, and ice accumulation. Let's go over the ones that are documented in the Tomorrow.io documentation. So we first open Weather Data Layers 4 under docs.tomorrow.io, and let's go over the ICE data fields mentioned here. First, we have sleet intensity, which measures the intensity of sleet, which is ice pellets, by calculating the amount of sleet that would fall over a given interval of time, or that number a constant over a specific time period. Then we have ice accumulation, which calculates the accumulated amount of ice from freezing rain that either has or will accumulate for the past or future hour. Similarly, we have ice accumulation LWE, which calculates the liquid water equivalent of ice accumulation for the specific location and hour we request. Lastly, we have freezing rain intensity, which measures the intensity of freezing rain by calculating the amount of freezing rain that would fall over a specific location for a given interval of time. Now that we've covered these ICE data fields, which might seem somewhat complex, let's take a look at how to actually fetch them. So our first step would be to open the Retrieve Timelines API, which we can find here under Weather Timelines, and choose a programming language. And then we have to build our fetch request. First, we provide a location. Let's just set it to London. Then we provide fields. These are the fields which we'll be fetching data for. I've chosen these three: sleet intensity, ice accumulation, and freezing rain intensity. Here we have the code snippet, how it should be built. However, this is not enough to run in an emulator environment. So let's open Android Studio and see how it will actually look. So here we have our main activity. First, we have a class which is called main activity, which first sets the user interface content for activity and defines the app's layout. Then we have the most important function, which we've named weather app, which is the function to fetch and display weather data. Here we set the color as well as the color scheme and background of the user interface in the application, which will have. Then we have the final function, which actually fetches the weather data from the Tomorrow.io API. First, we use the OK HTTP client, which is a library used to send and receive HTTP requests. Then we actually build the media body. Let's take a look at how it looks. So here we have media type, which is JSON, and the body, which calculates and writes all the fields which we need to fetch. This is sleet intensity, freezing rain intensity, and ice accumulation. Or in this case, it's set to Paris. Let's just set it to London. Now, once this is done, we have the request builder, which directs to the Tomorrow.io API URL. And then we try to execute the request. If there's no request, we'll get an error. Now let's run the app. So the emulator will appear here. We have an Android emulator, and the Android application is starting up just fine. And here is the data. Let's zoom in just a bit and see what we have. So we have time steps in 1 hour, fetching the data which we wrote here. We have freezing rain intensity, ice accumulation, and sleet intensity. Now, as you can see, there's no ice happening in London at the moment, so there's no sleet, there's no freezing rain, and there's no ice. So all of the values are set at 0. However, if this was fetched at a location which does have ice, we would receive different values for each one of these fields. That would be it. Thank you for watching. You now know how to get ICE data.